Have you ever loved someone so much you'd destroy them just to feel sane again? That's what I asked myself. Standing in the cold Chicago drizzle, staring up at the grand entrance of the Peninsula Hotel. Her text had been simple. Working late, babe. Don't wait up. But the location tracker on the family plan told a different story. It was here on East Superior Street that my perfect life was about to shatter. I could feel the ice spreading through my veins, a cold fury I'd never known before. What was she doing in a five-star hotel at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday? I was about to find out, and the answer would burn my world to the ground. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my everything. We built a life together in a quiet suburb just outside Chicago. I worked tirelessly as an architect, designing buildings while she designed our future, or so I thought. The first crack appeared at my company's annual gala. I was receiving an award, the biggest night of my career. Sarah was supposed to be there, my rock. Instead, she was late. When she finally arrived, she barely glanced at me, her eyes scanning the room, a strange, hungry look on her face. Later, while I was giving my acceptance speech, I saw her laughing with him for the first time. Mark, a slick junior partner from her law firm. The way he leaned in, the way her head tilted back. It was a private joke in a public space. That night, I went home with a trophy, but I felt like a loser. Her behavior grew stranger. Late nights at the office became a weekly ritual. She started guarding her phone like it held state secrets, angling it away whenever I walked into the room. Then came the small lies. A receipt from a restaurant on Rush Street for a client dinner when she said she was working from home. A credit card charge for a boutique I knew she hated. Each discovery was a small paper cut to my soul. I started feeling like a ghost in my own home. She became cold, distant. When I tried to talk to her, to bridge the growing chasm between us, she'd turn it around. "You're being paranoid," she'd say, her voice dripping with annoyance. "Maybe if you weren't so needy, I wouldn't have to work so hard to maintain our lifestyle." She was gaslighting me, making me feel like the crazy one. Her and Mark, they started acting untouchable. I saw them once, getting into his car near her office. The look on his face was pure smugness. They thought I was a fool. The breaking point came one rainy Saturday afternoon. She was supposedly at a spa day with friends. I was cleaning out the garage when I found an old shoebox filled with her keepsakes. Tucked at the very bottom was a hotel key card from the Drake, dated 3 weeks prior. And beneath it, a photo booth strip. It was her and Mark, kissing, laughing, intimate. My hands started shaking. I dropped the photos and stumbled back, hitting the wall. The air left my lungs. A guttural sob tore from my throat, raw and animalistic. I slid down the wall, surrounded by dusty tools and forgotten memories, and I wept. I cried for the man I was, for the love I thought we had, for the 10 years of my life that now felt like a complete and utter lie. That day, something inside me broke, and in its place, something cold and hard began to form. My grief turned to rage, a silent, meticulous fury. My sadness became my fuel. I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to dismantle her. The first step was proof. Irrefutable, soul-crushing proof. I hired a private investigator, a gruff ex-cop who specialized in marital infidelity. He was expensive, but worth every penny. He got me everything. Photos of them entering hotels. Videos of them dining at intimate, candlelit tables. Audio recordings of their late-night work sessions, which were anything but. While he gathered the external evidence, I handled the internal. I installed discrete cameras in our home. I set up keylogger software on the family computer. I documented every lie, every discrepancy, every stolen moment. It was a slow, painful process. Every piece of evidence was another twist of the knife in my own heart, but I pushed through. I was building a case, not just for a divorce attorney, but for her complete and total social annihilation. My plan had 2 fronts, legal and social. Legally, I had her dead to rights. Met with the sharpest divorce lawyer in Chicago, we laid out the evidence. The infidelity clause in our prenup was ironclad. She would get nothing, the house, the savings, her precious lifestyle, gone. But that wasn't enough. I wanted her to feel the same humiliation she'd made me feel. The final act was set for the annual charity benefit her law firm hosted. It was the social event of the year for Chicago's legal elite. Mark was even slated to receive a Rising Star Award. I arranged for a large screen to be set up behind the main stage, ostensibly for a slideshow honoring the firm's achievements. I spent weeks editing the footage, syncing the audio, creating a 5-minute montage of her betrayal. It's a cinematic masterpiece of her downfall. The night of the benefit, I felt a calm I hadn't felt in months. Sarah was radiant in a designer gown, oblivious. Mark was preening by the stage, soaking in the admiration. When the time came for his award, the lights dimmed. The host began his introduction. "And now, a special presentation," he announced. But instead of the corporate slideshow, my video began to play. The screen lit up with a high-definition shot of Sarah and Mark kissing passionately on my own living room couch. The room fell silent. Then, a collective gasp. The video cut to them in hotel rooms, at restaurants, their whispered sweet nothings echoing through the grand ballroom's sound system. I watched Sarah's face. Her smile faltered. Her skin turned a ghostly white. Her eyes darted around the room, finding mine in the crowd. There was no anger in my gaze, only emptiness. The final scene was a close-up of Mark, mocking me to Sarah, calling me pathetic and weak. The video ended, plunging the room into darkness and a stunned, deafening silence. The lights came up. Sarah was gone. Mark stood frozen on stage, his face a mask of horror. I never saw her again. She left town that night, a pariah. Mark was fired the next day. I sold the house on the quiet suburban street and moved into a sleek, minimalist apartment downtown, overlooking the Chicago River. Sometimes, late at night, I stand by the window, watching the city lights blur into a sea of indifferent stars. The rage is gone. The pain has dulled to a permanent, low-grade ache. I got my revenge. I won. But my world is silent now, painted in shades of gray. All that's left is the quiet hum of the refrigerator. The end.